a couple of minutes late. Not quite all set up yet. Maybe that's a little better. I don't know. Let's go. We definitely don't want flashy colors. Go back to, there we go. I guess that'll work. It's gonna have to. It's the best I can do. Hi, Dolly. Hi, D-Day. I got to playing around and time got away from me. Hi, Cindy. Hey, Dolly. This ain't that kind of show. Hi, Robin. Let's see if I can get you guys up on the computer here so I can actually see. Hi, Kim. Ms. Deb. Yeah, I kind of figured a week too long, and my wife had to work from 8 this morning to 8 at night, and I'm like, I'm going to be bored. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I know what we could do. I haven't had one in a while. My first live from my new studio. Well, Dolly, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to try and use this cool little thing I found on Amazon. And we're going to see how it works. Well, that didn't work at all. Let's see. But, you know, I was in that position where I needed something for I needed to buy something else. Sorry. I'm trying to find myself on my laptop so I can read your comments a little easier because they're kind of tiny on my phone, but I can't even find me. That is weird. Why can I not find myself on YouTube? Oh, let's see. Technical difficulties right from the beginning. Why can I not find myself? That is just weird. Oh, I know why. I don't want to search on Bing, you freaking idiots. I want you to, there. Searching the whole internet. Of course, there's a bunch of Marty Collinses. Hi, Brittany. How are you? Well, you're welcome, Cindy. Brittany, I don't recognize your name. Are you new to the group? You seem to know somebody. Or maybe I know somebody. I know I'm right here with you, D-Day. I'm trying to find me on YouTube on my laptop. You got to get past all the guy that's I never knew existed that now has my exact name who likes to play music. There I am. All right. I found me. I found me. Oh, we need to turn that down. I do not need to listen to me. Especially since it's out of sync. I have an echo. And now I got to figure out. There's my chat box. Oh, look, you guys get little crowns on my show too. To expand that out. But anyway, now that I know get off the top chat. There we go. Get that part on there. Now let's make you guys bigger so I can see what's going on. So I was on Amazon and I found myself needing something. I didn't lose anybody, did I? Looks like I lost a couple. I was at 13, now I'm at 10. I was on Amazon and found myself needing like $6 or $7 in order to get free shipping. So, of course, I started hunting for stuff. Well, I needed to not pay shipping. Because I try to avoid that. Because, I mean, why, it's just like anything else. Why spend a bunch of money on something, why pay for shipping when you can spend that money on something and actually get something and then not have to pay for shipping. But anyway, I found these little things. They are called jewelry trays, and they're called branch jewelry trays. So supposedly, it has a bail on it back here, but you got to have a really little. I'm going to have to add some jump rings to that because the standard necklace cords I use ain't going to fit through there at all. So I'm going to have to add some jump rings, and supposedly you just pop whatever's in there. I could take a tumble and you stick it in there, and you're supposed to just be able to bend these branches around and make it hold. So we're going to try that with a few pieces and see how it works, because it's kind of a neat looking little thing. And then it looks like you're wrapping your stone up. I guess that's supposed to be the front. See, you set your stone in there like that. You're supposed to just be able to bend these branches around it to hold it tight. And then you've got this cool little wire wrap already in the design. So this one looks like it would be okay like this. This is a piece of sodalite. Put the point up here, maybe. Hi, Brittany. I was talking to you a second ago. I don't recognize your name, but you seem to know some people in here. We want to go this way or this way? So I've got, as we all know in the wire wrapping world, tumbles are some of the hardest things to wrap. So this jewelry tray here might just be the trick. I can get it set where I want it. Oh, it bends nice and easy, sort of. Okay. It bends easy in some spots and doesn't bend so easy in others. So using some tools to push it down might be a better bet. And it looks like this is just too big. See, that's going to be a problem that I've got too, is these things showed up. Uh-oh, that broke awful easy. Well, that's pretty chintzy. They showed up, let's see, when they're out flat, they are, what do we got here? Maybe 1.25 inches wide. 1.25 inches wide, and before I broke it, it was about 1 inch long. So we're going to have to do much smaller pieces, it looks like. There's a fly in there, and he's going to drive me crazy. Flying right in between me and the camera, or me and the screen. So these pieces are all going to be too big because they're all kind of the same size. So none of those are going to work. Where'd the rest of it go? It was like $8 for 20 of these. So they're like 65 cents each. Somewhere in that general vicinity. We'll see if we can get a much smaller piece in here. Let's see. Hang on a second. So how's everybody's weekend been? I've had a very lazy week. I've pretty much done nothing. I don't do that very often. I didn't have to do laundry this week. So I think the only work I've done really is cooking my food and ran the dishwasher once. Okay, these cool little turquoise dyed howlite, they got holes in them, but they're cute little nuggets. They might work for this thing. Is that the good one? Yeah, that's a broken one, but it broke off fairly even, so let's try several different ways of doing this, I guess. Squish it around that way and squish that one around that way. Yes. It's not the easiest thing in the world to bend, which is probably a good thing. So, I mean, if you've got arthritic hands or something, this probably would not be for you. We're going to try and take a tool, use it to bend stuff over. Ow, it stabbed me. Okay, get to the little tippy tips, and they are not as nice to lay down as you would want. Let's see. Let's bend this one over here. Let's get this guy in totally trapped. all the big stuff laid down. I don't know. You think I paid any attention to that? They were $8. I figured I'd do my own. One second. Somebody sending me a message on Messenger. I wasn't going to fret over $8, Dolly. I saw them. They were cool. I'm a man like that. Ooh, that's cool. Buy it. That's how I wound up with everything in my room, pretty much. This is my first live from the new house, my new studio. Well, he's trapped in there. There's no Sharpies going. Doesn't look like there's anything that'll poke anybody. Stand this bale up high. He's kind of loose in there, but he can't go anywhere. And once you get it compacted down like this, it does not want to bend well. So bendability, I guess, is on a good scale because I was able to bend it over and trap the stone. But it is on there. Straighten this up a little bit. Well, that doesn't look too bad at all, does it? Like I said, the stone is not tight like we normally would want with our wire wrapping. But it can't come out. They are called branch, the tree branch, jewelry trays. And DD, if you didn't hear, they were called branch jewelry trays. That's what they look like in the picture. These came in a package of 20. I already threw away the little label that was on it, so I can't tell you what to do other than type in branch, like a tree branch, jewelry tray, and these should pop up. But yeah, that's not too bad at all. Well, I'm sorry, Zelina. Claw prong pendant setting also brings them up. Okay. I just put in crystals for jewelry making and was trying to decide what I wanted to buy when these things rolled around. And I'm like, wait, that might work. That looks pretty cool. Yeah. Dolly, if you're there and looking it up, see if they have any bigger ones. Because yeah, that's some pretty small. Like I said, these little nuggets aren't very big at all. I mean, they're smaller than a quarter. And hi, Selena, thanks for coming. I'm sorry YouTube isn't telling you I'm on. You missed the whole me trying to fight with YouTube to even find myself. I couldn't find myself on YouTube hunting for my own name. All right, so yeah, now that we've got this to where you can see, standard necklace cord. Get you over here in the light. Let me see something here. It's not that one. That's better, isn't it? Does that look better than it did a second ago? Okay. Got wrong light setting, but yeah, see, the standard necklace cord, the extension chain won't even go through there. So we're going to have to play around with some jump rings. And that was easy enough, wasn't it? 3 of them come flying out of there. Does anybody know how to demagnetize your tools? Sometimes it's a help, but most of the time it's a hinder. Oh, okay. Thanks, Miss Deb. I appreciate that. Got another pair around here somewhere. Here we go. Let's see. Yeah. Now we got to do it the other way. Like I said, I threw away the package. I'm not even sure of the package, but here I can give you an idea. What have they got the sizes in millimeters? These are 34, 33, 34. Hello, Kara. Is it Kara or Kara? Welcome to my live. I haven't had one in a while. I don't recognize your name, so you must be new. So yeah, they're 34, 35. So it's Kara. I've done moved on. I don't know which one I said first. Where'd my ruler go? And so if we're looking at the king, inch and a quarter, inch and a half. They've probably got it as centimeters though, don't they? I don't have centimeters. All I've got is millimeters. So we are a group of wire wrappers mostly. If you're new to my little show. And I just found these things on Amazon and we're trying them out for the very first time. So I need to do one more round of jump rings to get it lined out correctly. Well, hopefully I've answered your question already. We're trying out these things. They're called branch jewelry trays. Looked under jewelry. You don't think what worked? What didn't work, Zelina? Oh. Nope, that did not work. We have a strong magnet over them. Isn't that what magnetized it in the first place? I don't know. The friction on all the wire that I use may have caused them to be. Like I said, when I'm doing jump rings and stuff, and it's kind of handy with making making earrings, because then I can just dump my earring stuff out, and when I want something, I just get close to it. My jump rings better be big enough, or I'm going to be upset. Come on, you gotta be kidding me. There we go. And then here's how it looks. That's the back of it though, so it doesn't look so pretty. There's the front. So yeah, I don't think that turned out half bad. I do not think it turned out half bad at all. Let's try. Ooh, look at that. That was way smoother than this other show I watch a lot. So yeah. What do we think? How fancy can I get with this? Giant fingers. Depth perception. So yeah, I don't think that looks bad at all. Okay, don't be getting silly. There we go. But as you can see, you know, this was the first one I tried to wrap with it, and you know, he shall not be named. Left us high and dry to go on vacation. But yeah, so these are just too big. I'll have to look up to see if they can be found in multiple sizes. But I mean, it was pretty quick. It's fairly simple to bend. Like I said, except for some of the teeny, you know, you get to these. Let's blow it up again. You see, you get to these the little pieces. They aren't so easy to bend. So you're going to want tools for that, because they definitely do not bend. Whoa. Definitely do not bend that easily with your fingers. But with your tool, it seemed to have popped right down there. I'm going to quit messing with it. Yeah, it does kind of. Ooh, I'll have to try that. Because I know how to wrap tumbles. Like these two would be fairly easy to wrap because they've got a flat side. The Sodalite's flat all the way around. That round one. Round and poofy on both sides. Yeah. It's got a crack in it, so that would definitely have to be the back. But then, you know, we all know tumbles are the hardest to wrap. I avoid them when I can. Oh, and the other thing I found on Amazon, which is what I was looking for to begin with, I found some more moons like you got, Zelina. So I bought a bunch of them because I actually had 2 other people ask me about them. So I wanted to try a couple of other pieces here. I may have to try the bigger ones because, yeah, these tumbles are just sitting in my stash not being used because they're too hard to wrap. And for me, I don't sell a lot of tumbles even after they're wrapped. But let's get rid of this. Really? It's screwed in there? Wow. You snatched them up. Yeah, you did. And said you were the first one to ask, so you were the first one who had the choice to buy them. And I'm like, well, if 3 people have asked for the same thing, then maybe I need to try and find some more. All right. Let's get these big ones out of the way. Get this little guy out of the way. We already worked on one of him. And let's see what we get with a mushroom. Oh, now that's way easier to do than wire wrapping a mushroom with no hole. Look at that. It just went right around, right around. Do some squishing. Making sure there's no sharp edges anywhere. I snatched up she snatched up this pair of earrings. I had a pair of earrings with these moons. And she snatched them up, and 2 other people that I know asked for them too. Well, I'm going to have to flip that one over to make them match good, but that's okay. Because, of course, they're all going to be facing the same way. So a friend of mine sells crystals. She is the mother with those blanks. You mean these? To me, they're not blanks. They're done. Just add earring wires and sell them. But anyway, a friend of mine, her son grew up with my kids, my 2 oldest. He was actually friends with my daughter, who's several years older than my sons. Anyway, his long time girlfriend, I don't know if they're married or not, doesn't matter. I've known them for years and years and years. And then here lately, we've been spending some time with them as a family. We were invited to their Thanksgiving so I've become friends with her mom, and her mom sells jewelry. Or not jewelry. Well, she sells some jewelry, but she sells crystals, bigger crystals. So, of course, and she does it at vending shows, so we see each other at vending shows. So we've become pretty good friends. I don't like the way that one's doing. Well, I didn't mean to break it off, but oh well. If that works, it works. Dropped everything. I don't know. It's kind of pokey. Can't seem to get these things to bend down to where they're not pokey in the back. That broken one is really pokey. So let's see if we can turn it a little more this way. And it a little more this way. Now my bail is nowhere near centered nor in the back. Can't even really tell it's a mushroom. Ear cuffs. Yeah. I haven't made any ear cuffs. I don't know if I like that. I can barely tell it's a mushroom. Unless you hang it this way, but then it doesn't. Yeah, I don't like it with the mushroom. It was simple and easy to get rid of, though. Okay. But anyway, now I know. Now I remember what I was trying to say. She puts her posts up on Facebook, and I noticed Larimar. I've got some Bodhi Chi Werebear, I'll bet. Bodhi Chi Werebear. Larimar. I have some Larimar around here somewhere. I don't think I've made any jewelry out of it yet. I am way behind. I've bought Larimar, but I'm trying to produce jewelry from stuff I bought 2 years ago. But I keep buying new stuff. I haven't caught up to myself yet, is what I'm trying to say. So I have Larimar around here somewhere, but I don't know where at the moment. But yes, I work in all kinds of crystals. But anyway, I got sidetracked again. All right. So this friend of mine that sells crystals pops up, and she's selling crowns. I have some here somewhere. Here we go. She's selling crowns that have, what we're calling sticks, or little rectangles. You got your turquoise? Yeah, see, we can start a support group. I thought we already had. It went by the wayside real quick. Our Crystal Buyers Anonymous died on the vine. So Dolly, is the turquoise as gorgeous as it was on the screen? Because see, I get an email on Monday morning saying your stuff is shipped, and once in a blue moon that thing shows up on Saturday morning. But most of the time it shows up around 10 o'clock on Monday morning after I've gone to work. For those of you that don't know, I'm a truck driver, so I'm gone all week. So it shows up at 10 o'clock on Monday morning after I've gone to work. It's like, your package has arrived. And it's like, Well, the problem is he showed more cool stuff and everybody continued to buy. So it didn't do us any good to be in a support group. But anyway, she had crowns. And they were pretty crowns. And I asked her how much she wanted for them, and she said $15. And there were 15 of these little rectangles on those crowns. So, as you can see, they are no longer on the crowns. I've still got the crown ones over there. If I want to use beads and stuff, I might make a new crown, but $15 for 15 of those. And I got 15. I bought 2 crowns. Got obsidian too. Nope, this is rose quartz. I'm just going to call you Werebear. Yeah, it's rose quartz. I know it's inside the little bag. So I bought them from her. Okay. Well, I looked them up, and apparently they're... yeah, that's what I thought. And at the very next show we saw each other, she's like, hey, can I ask you a question? I'm like, sure. She's like, did you buy those crowns to tear them apart and sell them individually? I'm like, well, I'm going to sell some individually. I'll make earrings out of some. She's like, and how much do you sell them for? I'm like, $15 to $18. And she's like, crap. But anyway, the reason that I started that conversation is because at the middle of each one of those crowns, the 2 crowns I bought, there was this moon as a decoration. And I'm like, well, I've got 2 moons, and they didn't have a loop at all, so it was easy to, flip them around. And I made some earrings, and I posted the picture on Facebook, and Zelina was the first one to ask for it. So technically, those didn't cost me anything at all, because I've already sold 1 pair of earrings and 1 pendant that I made out of the rose quartz. So, and those 2 together, if I sell 1 more of anything that I made out of those crowns, and actually, you know what? With those earrings was another $10. So yeah, I've paid for both crowns already. And I bought them a month ago. So yeah, so I still have jewelry hanging on my rack made out of the rose quartz and made out of the obsidian. And I've already gotten back the money that I paid for it. Harvesting is fair game. What would be cool, Dolly? But yes, for Werebear and Kara and anybody else that's new, we all watch a show on Matt's Crazy Art. That's where a lot of us buy a lot of our stones. So we all know each other and have known each other in chat for years. And the big problem that we have... Oh, I forgot. If anybody knows how to get a hold of Carly Stone, can you text her or send her a message or whatever? Oh yeah, I'm sure that she sold them to me for at least what she paid for them. We do give each other deals. But oh, cool to have the moons on the crown. Yeah, she had them in the middle of the crown pointing down, and then wire wrapped right to the... So it looked pretty cool. But yeah, I'm sure she made her profit, or if she didn't, she sold them to me for what she bought them for. Which, like I said, she's a friend, and we see each other all the time, and we celebrate holidays together with our families. So, if there's something that she wants, then I make sure she gets a deal too. every now and then she'll see something that she wants on my Facebook page or at my booth. At the latest one we saw was a Renaissance fair. She was right across the walkway from me, so we got to visit quite a bit. But yeah, she sells everything from, she sells tumbles, of course, but she also goes up to, like, she's got spheres and softball size. Most of her stuff is less than softball size. But yes, Carly Stone is the nicest, and I meant to remember to text her and tell her that I was going to be doing a live show, and I completely forgot. And I feel bad that I forgot. So somebody just dumped over all of my jump rings. So if somebody knows how to get a hold of her, let her know we're on. I'll do housekeeping later. Yeah, she's not on Facebook. If you don't have her phone number or email, you can't get a hold of her. Ooh, this way? Yeah, maybe. Well, like I said, she refuses to be on Facebook. So she's a little bit harder to get a hold of than everybody else is. All right, I'm going to bend this one over this way just a little. But Werebear, if you weren't here earlier when I was talking about these, I just got these off of Amazon. And I thought our Matt's Crazy Art guy that we get most of our crystals from went on vacation abruptly. And we're used to seeing each other about every night for at least a few minutes during the week. And he left us on Tuesday just out of the blue, said he was going on vacation. So we haven't talked to each other all week. So we're just sort of catching up. And I got these on Amazon. And I thought I would try them out on a live show. Now, one of them's going to have to go around behind, isn't it? That one's a little too big too. So that one's too long. So yeah, it's definitely for smaller nuggets like that. See, that one's a little too big too. So the only other thing I've got, let's see, I might have other little nuggets floating around somewhere, but I would have to hunt through my stash. I'm going to mess you guys up here just a second. I'm going to show you my new craft room. I did a video on my old craft room. Let's look at my new one. My new one is skinny. It's only 6 feet wide. And I've got my whiteboard up here. See, all 4 of those bins are just my stone stash, not counting, of course, a bunch of beads and everything else. The suitcases and the briefcase have got stuff for me to take. There's my tent. So yeah, store all my stuff in a dresser, and as you can see, It is a glorified mess. Let's go to the door. There's one of my racks. There's the other rack. There's all of the stuff for my show. So yeah, it's a long, skinny, 6 foot wide by 12 foot long. Up there is my tax certificate. Over here is my first sale, 2021. So I've been doing this for 4 years now. So I've been wrapping for 5. I'm gonna make you sick. Don't look. Don't look, Ethel. There we go. Get this cord out of my way so I don't run over it with my wheelie chair. Okay, Dolly, let me know how they turned out. See, are you ordering some of the bigger ones? You have me beat with how many stones you have or how messy your room is. I'm betting from watching you buy, you probably do have me beat on stones. I got a lot of stones, a lot more stones when we were doing the auctions. I don't know how many of you were here for the auctions. I don't know if Dolly was here for the auctions. The auctions were awful, awful, awful fun. I miss them a lot. But I spent an awful lot of money on those auctions too. Hi, Vicky. How are you? Uh-oh. I have to grind these all together on the bottom. Let's say you probably do have me beat on stones because you buy an awful lot more than I do. But I think I'm up to 300. See, everything I buy for the week now. Before, every auction was a set. And now everything I buy for the week, I generally call a set. When I put them in my computer. So I'm up to 346 or 47 sets that I've bought off of Matt. And I am only up to, where am I at? I try to make my production process. I am up to, nope, not that one. How did the auctions work? Oh, the auctions worked last. Let's see what I got in here. I'm looking at I take them with me on my truck. I'm in the 215. My production schedule, I try to grab and make 1 or 2 things out of a set that will pay for that set. I'm trying to get my money back. And so I will make 2 or 3 pieces out of each set. Hopefully that'll make enough money to give me the money back that I paid for that set, and then I move on to the next set. When I first started, I tried to use everything in the set. Excuse me. Tried to put everything in the set, make something out of everything in the set and empty it. But what I found is that I had, at that time, I was up into the 60s and 70s on sets. All of my jewelry racks were full. I had no more room to put any more jewelry, but I had only made jewelry out of the first 25 sets. So in order to try and get my money back, I would I decided that I would make 2 or 3 things out of each set and then move on to the next set. So like I said, I'm in the 430s now in buying, but I'm only in the 215 in making. So yeah, I'm a little behind. Now, mind you, some of the stuff that I've been getting lately, I've been making out of the newer sets because it's just cool stuff that I don't have in the other sets. So I've got scattered around in some of the newer sets as well, just because it's really cool stuff. Trying to get all of the pokies down. So yeah, for small nuggets like this, these things are awesome. I like them. But yeah, hopefully we can find... Dolly, you said you ordered some others. Did you find any that were bigger? And Dolly, here in just a minute, I will kind of show you real quick how the auctions worked. I think I've got enough stuff laying here on my table. I give away some stuff. I give family and friends deep discounts. A couple of my friends are very upset when I tell them that they're getting a family and friends discount, but we want to support you. Like you are supporting me just by buying stuff. Let's see. I want that to lay lower like that. It's going to lay on its side. I think I want to turn this a little. And the bale's really easy to move around so that you can get a better angle on what you want. So yeah, those are pretty cool. Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to check that out because yeah, that's nice and easy. Okay, Dolly. Did I make a hat bale? Oh, did I make that bale? No, I did not make this bale. I bought these off of Amazon. You came in the show late. That was the... I bought these. They're called branch jewelry trays. Dolly and D-Day said you can look them up under prongs as well. And I've never seen them before, never used anything like that before, so I figured I would try them out on a live show and give my opinion, other than the fact that they're smaller than I wish them to be. Here was the first one I made, Vicky. And then I just made this one. So they just bend around and wrap around, but then once you get down to these the little ends, let me have another one. Once you get down to these little ends, you got to use a tool to bend them, because they're just a little too stiff. And they aren't too bad wrapping around, but if you have problems with arthritis, it may be just too much. They were $8 for 20 of them. I needed something to do so that I did not have to pay shipping, so I bought them. All right, Dolly. So there would be, he's got his numbers. Well, he would only use 3 most of the time. There would be three sets laid out, and he would add to them. The minimum bid was, I think it was 10. So he would just start adding stuff. And as long as people kept bidding, he kept adding stuff until you'd get a whole pile of stuff like this. This is 110. This is from an auction. There's 3 or 4. I've made stuff out of it. So there would be 3 or 4. You'd get 3 or 4 stones. You'd get maybe 2 or 3 earring pairs and too much glare and a handful of beads. And how it would work was you'd have 1, 2, and 3. The highest bidder, when everybody stopped bidding, the highest bidder would get their choice of the 3 sets. And the second highest bidder would be able to pick from the other 2 sets that were left, unless they didn't want them, and then they could pass. And what it would do is it would just go down the line until all 3 sets were bought. And my strategy, unless there was something that I really, really wanted, my strategy was to come in at $10 or $11 as minimum bid or a little over, and then just sit there and wait for everybody to pass until it got down to me. And he would say, do you want this set? And I would say yes. So this set with the beads and 2 or 3 things. So yeah, I say there's 3 of these, and there's, you know, a couple of earring pairs and some beads, and somebody bid $30 and they won. They would take number 1. The sets were generally pretty close to the same. So every now and then there'd be one different stone in there. But so whoever bid 22 for this set would take this set, and there'd be 2 more kind of like it there. And the person that was behind the 22 was 21, and they didn't want it because they wanted that special stone that was in that one. So they would pass, and they would come all the way down. The person that bought it for 22, it comes down to me, and I got the same, pretty much exact same set for 11. But when the end of the year came and I did all my taxes, what was the highest bid ever? I started watching, I don't know, Zelina, how many years was he into it before I started watching? Because I didn't start from the beginning. D-Day and Zelina were there when I got there. The highest bid I ever saw was like, what was it, $260? But it was a mountain of stones. I mean, there was a mountain of stones. And there was 2 people that were bidding each other, and he says that it's easier on him. But he took a 30-day hiatus, and when he came back, he was like, we're not doing auctions anymore. We're doing it this way. And since he's doing it that way, the stones are a little more expensive. And that may be why, because it was, I don't remember if it was before COVID or after or during COVID that he went to that format. But anyway, Zelina says $400 or $500. The one I saw, it went up to close to $300. One set was $300. The bidder behind it was like $275 or $280. And then the third set, which was basically the same pile as the other 2 sets, I stopped bidding at that one at $70, and Lee put in $80, and he got the set for $80. And come to find out, the person that did $275 never came and paid for their set. But yeah, that one was rather exciting. I think he's making better profits this way too, and it is for him less confusing because he's got to keep track of all of the bids, and sometimes he would lose bids. That's when he got into his number situation where he doesn't pay any attention to what you're saying. He only pays attention to the numbers because people were throwing bids out one right after the other. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, he would get a bit excitable. On the plus side, this format, he does a lot less singing. No, not paying is not cool. So actually, interestingly enough, I hadn't planned anything else at all other than trying out these things, but I've now ran out of stones that are small enough to use. So, anything you guys want to see particularly? Yeah, we get a free stone now. Speaking of free stones, D-Day, you're here. All right. You gifted me with a stone, and you told me to do a video of wrapping it, and I just happen to have it laying right here. I think it was petrified wood. Now, they were called branch, like a tree branch. Branch jewelry tray is what they were called. But yeah, as you guys saw, those 4 bins back there, those are all full of stones. And yeah, D-Day gifted me with this really beautiful stone, and she wanted a video of me wrapping it. So you're here, we're here, there's the stone. Do we want, ooh, that's 20 gauge or 18 gauge. I don't want that. So what do you guys think I should do? Because I was looking at it when it got here. Oh yeah, I've got a friend of mine that I met doing shows, and she macrames around a bunch of her stones, and yeah, that takes forever. So what do we think? Silver. The stone itself. Wonder if you could what? Vicky thinks copper. That would look good. I also have this antique bronze. Was this the... Oh, let's see. I'd have to look on my computer to see. Oh, that would be confusing, Dolly. This might have been the opalized petrified wood. Because, I mean, that certainly looks like a knot of wood right there. Got some antique bronze here. So do we want to... Yeah, I don't like the silver on it. I don't have any antique copper. I used to use antique copper all the time. Yeah, I think I want this one to be the front because it's got this beautiful knot over here, and there's... I mean, it's over here too, but it's like more than half the stone. So I think that's going to be the front there. But I used to have antique copper when I bought my stuff from, okay, everybody thinks this will work. I used to get my wire from Parawire. The problem I had with Parawire is that you had to have, I think it was like a $40 order, I think, before they would even accept it. Let's go a little more. And sometimes, like, of course, I run out of silver faster than anything else. So I would order 2 rolls of everything, and then I'd be out of silver, and I'd have to go find it somewhere else because I didn't want to buy $35 worth of silver wire. And then I put in an order, and they Sorry, there we go. My little pad was coming off of my pliers. Now from there. I had a problem with their customer service, and then they just stopped answering me. So I quit using Parawire. And now, because like I said, I'm a truck driver, so I drive my car up to where are my pliers? There they are. That stuff scattered around. I drive past a Hobby Lobby, going to work and coming back from work, and they don't sell antique copper. But they do sell antique bronze, so it's not that much of a difference. And it's not, for cost wise, it's not in that much more for a roll of wire, and I can get it whenever I want it, and so it's just more handy for me to stop at Hobby Lobby and get my wire when I need it, and then I don't have to pay a whole bunch of money at one time. And sometimes they have their wire on sale at Hobby Lobby. Can you go through there? Yes, you can. Awesome. I love when that happens. Because for the design that I have in my head for this, I needed both wires to go through the hole. I wanted to go over here and try and stay off of the pretty part. Yeah, I had a Joann's in town too. They seem to be a little more expensive on everything. I didn't buy a whole lot from them, but they did have they had a better selection of different kinds of beads. So if I couldn't find what I wanted at Hobby Lobby, I would stop at Joann's. But yeah, ours is closed too. That's pretty nice. I plan stuff out in my head sometimes on stones. I do not do nothing against anybody that does, but I'm a horrible artist as far as drawing goes. I know a lot of people draw out their design and plan it, like Matt does that every now and then. Well, thank you, Ms. Deb. But I picture the stone in my head and kind of get an idea of what I might try to wrap it. Sometimes the stone has different ideas, which is fine by me. And sometimes when I'm done, I don't like what I've done. That's what I was just discussing. Oh, 20 miles away, that ain't bad. But like I said, I picture the stone in my head, and sometimes like this one, I knew that, this was kind of the plain part of the stone, so I knew I wanted most of my wrap to be over there, just so that the pretty part of the stone could be seen a little better. I am of the philosophy that the stone, I'm trying to make the beauty of the stone is what you want to wear. And I try not to cover that up as much as possible. So some of the wire weaving crowd kind of takes the wire art, which is gorgeous, but sometimes they take the wire art and it becomes the purpose. And my purpose, I hate wire weaving. I do not have the patience for it. Cut it a little too long. Now I'm trying to dig it back out of there. Come on, baby. We can do it. There we go. And most of the time, I let the stone speak to me. The T is not working on your keyboard. Oh man, that's messy. But I've been called a lot worse than Mary. Dolly, I agree. But like I said, I generally when I buy stones, I try and buy, the pretty ones. So the last thing you want to do on a stone like this, I think, is cover up the pretty part. So I don't do that. So let's see. For those of you that know her, I think it's Tanja. I think it was either Tanja or Trish. Either Tanja or Trish draws out their designs very, very carefully. Well, lately she said that she was trying what she called intuitive wrapping. And she's like, it comes out totally different than my designs. It's kind of interesting. So I guess what I do is intuitive wrapping because, yeah, like I said, with this stone, I had an idea that I wanted my design to be over here. So I didn't cover up the pretty part. Vicky, where have they been? They had some, back when there was a bunch of trouble with Etsy, it made them upset and they have not come to Matt for a while. I don't know if they'll come back or not, but I'm friends with them on other platforms. And let's see. Yes, Dolly, sometimes the stones turn out to be not so spectacular, but most of the time, what I find is that my wrapping doesn't do the justice I want it to do. Like on this one, that looks great. I like that. Get a little closer, get the ring light off of it. I like that. It came in, that was kind of the design I had in my head, and it came out. Yep. The other side is completely blank, but it's kind of a not so great side, so I don't think anybody will turn this around. If only. Yeah, it does kind of, doesn't it? Or maybe a seahorse? Kind of looks like a seahorse. Well, TJ, you gave me the stone. If you want it, I'll mail it to you. Message me. We're friends on Facebook. Message me your address. I'll mail it to you. I know you bought a few of these, I think. If you want to, send me a different one. But yeah, like I said, sometimes I'll sit down with a stone. But yeah, sometimes I'll sit down with a stone and I kind of have, this is 20 gauge, I think. Yep, this is 20 gauge wire. If only one wire will go through the hole, then I will, on the flip side, I will do a simple design to bring the second wire down, because I really like the dual wire. It looks, to me, it looks a lot prettier than a single wire. So I will do a single wire, run one wire through the hole, another wire will come back here. I'd make a couple of, swirls or dillies or whatever and bring it down here, and then bring both wires to the front. And then I would have done this. I would have done this a lot tighter if it was that way, because so that it would hold that second wire a little tighter. But that's why I said it was awesome that both of the wires went down, because then I knew this design would work. But yeah, I have made pieces where I've just grabbed it and started wrapping, and when I'm done, I'm like, ew, I don't like that. But for me, I look at it very carefully. If it is technically in good shape, in other words, the wire's tight, there's no, the only problem I have with it is the way the design turned out. Then I will leave it alone and put it up for sale. I very seldom cut the wire because I think the design is terrible, because I don't like the design that came out of it, then that doesn't mean that nobody will buy it. If I have it for a couple of years and it's still hanging on my rack, then I might take it and someday cut the wire off of it. It's like this year, I haven't really done, I've added new stuff to my setup, but I haven't really taken anything down. And I think about half of the stones that are hanging on my rack right now are stones that have been up there for a couple of years. They haven't sold, so they're going to come down. And I just put them in a box that says restock. So if I have a really big turnout, there's a couple of places where I sell quite a bit, then I know I always have backup to fill the rack back up again. To refill the rack, I always have something to back up. All right, so I need a bag for this, and I need to write D-Day on there so I do not forget. And like I said, send me your address, message me your address, and I'll send it out to you, and you can send me another stone like it if you know where they're at. That's my problem. But like I said, this was a fairly recent okay, well, thank you. This was a fairly recent group of stones that was purchased, because I think this was like 2 packages ago, so it's been the last 3 weeks. So you might be able to find them. Get off of there. So as soon as I've got your address, well, not as soon as I've got your address, because I leave on Monday before the post office opens. So I won't be able to mail it out until next weekend, and that'll depend on whether I get home before the post office closes again. But I'll get it to you. That's the point I'm making. At some point, it'll show up. And that's, write that on here. Okay, so Cindy, you are getting the courage up. You have not, you've got an all year market. Well, Cindy, I hope that you believe me. We all do it. We're all terrified. My first show, I was like, man, nobody's going to like my stuff. What if nobody likes it? What if everybody says that's a bunch of crap? My biggest fear is nobody buying it, because by the time you have a booth set up and ready to go, you've already put, not counting your jewelry, you've already put, $1,000 just into your tents and your tables. You're welcome, Miss Deb. But Vicky, as far as having a hard time getting into booths, does that mean you have a hard time with the people running the show not letting you be part of their show because they already have too much jewelry? Or you just think there's too much, the market is too saturated for you to be in there? Or I'm just wondering what kind of trouble you're having with a booth. Zelina, I always have an extra table in my booth because that's the table I use to adjust rings and to do my selling. So I've got my 2 tables with my stuff on it, and then I have my third little table that's usually in the front of my booth. But on my last show, I decided to do both tables long ways instead of making an L shape. And then I sat in the back of the booth to see how that worked. I didn't mind it too bad. But yeah, that table, when I do my booth outside, I use the same table as, oh yeah, if you've got juried shows, I've never tried a juried show. I've never attempted to get into a juried show, and luckily for me, there's only like 2 shows in the area. There's only 2 shows within an hour and a half of me that are juried. And I've never tried to get into those because I'm guessing that since they are juried, that they're probably way more than I want to spend. I do not like spending more than $50 to get into a show. Wow, Vicky, that's kind of rough when they're only limiting it to 1 jewelry booth, because there's all different kinds of jewelry. I could see not having, 3 people that have wire wrap crystals in their booth. But, if you've got, what is that called? Paparazzi. If you've got a paparazzi booth, they are nothing like what we're selling. You don't think you're in the league of what, D-Day? Going to jury shows? I don't think I'm in that league either. My jewelry might be in that league, but my wallet isn't. Like I said, I don't like spending. I cringed when, yep, I cringed when I paid $100 to go to the Renaissance Fair, and that was 2 days. So that's technically $50 a day. But yeah, I think $50 is about the most I've ever paid. Well, I take that back. There's one show that I went that I paid more than that. But I think it was $100 and some a day, but they had like 96 booths. They packed down, 4 blocks in a town. And the one I did in the spring wasn't bad, but the one I did in the fall was awful. And I'm like, and it was cold and rainy, and it was all outside. And I'm like, it was in the late October. And I'm like, you know what? I think the end of September is my cutoff for outside shows. But I won't say that I am, I am not highly successful. But there's only been 2 shows that I've gone to that I've lost money. Yeah. That depends on how. I mean, I could spend hundreds of dollars on booths if I wanted to go to Chicago, but I ain't going up there because I don't want to spend that kind of money. Because let's face it, every time you rent out a booth, you're throwing your chips on the table and hoping that you get dealt a good deal. It's a gamble. Every time it's a gamble. And I've tried to stick with what I was told at the beginning, that as long as you make your booth fee back, you have had a successful show. And like I said, this is my 4th summer. Yeah, this is my 4th summer of doing this. And I have lost money on 2 shows. I only lost $2 on one show. No, I lost my shirt on the other show. I lost like $75, $80 on the other show, which was absolutely crazy because there was like between 5,000 and 8,000 people that came through there, the event that weekend. So I did not understand how I did not make my weekend booth fee back, but I did not. But it was also kind of crappy weather, and it was in the second weekend of October. Yeah, the second weekend of October. So that also, I mean, it was windy enough that there were a lot of people that after their booth crashed, they packed up and left, which made the police angry because they had us packed in there like sardines. But when it's windy enough that the big giant tent that they put up over all of their picnic tables for people to sit under and eat, when that blows down, you know it's windy. I have tent stakes that are a foot long and about as big around as my pinky finger, maybe my ring finger. I've got some serious stakes that I sink into the ground and tie my tent down, and I was grabbing my tent a couple of times. Yeah, I kind of feel that way too, but I also, since I am a truck driver, I am alone a lot. So this also forces me to go out and actually rub elbows with the crowds. I actually get to interact with people without any stress involved in it, just saying hi, how you doing? And so yeah, I felt that way with the Ren Fair because I made like $30 profit on the weekend for the Ren Fair. So it was 2 days, so that's like $15 a day that I made to sit out there for 8 or 9 hours. If you add on the 2 hours to set up and the 2 hours to tear down, I didn't get paid near enough to be sitting there, but I had a blast. I had a lot of fun, interacted with a lot of people. So I am mostly an introvert. I like being alone. This weekend, I came home on Friday. I went to the post office and the grocery store. And yesterday, and the post office. Yesterday, I did not leave the house at all. And today I went and saw my grandchildren to let them know I was doing the show because he likes to show up in the evenings. So I wanted to make sure I didn't get interrupted by my horde of grandchildren showing up. So I went and saw them for a little while today, and that's the only time I left today. But yes, social life. But yes, not all organizers. Yes, they don't have the same type of clientele. And yes, and then they don't have the same type because I went to one this summer. I had never gone to one for this lady. I had signed up for her show 2 years ago, but that's when I got sick and was put in the hospital, so I was unable to make that show. So I decided that I would do it this year because I failed last year. And it was in a park, a wide open space in a big giant park close to Hey, Matt, Mayor, and me, how you doing? But yeah, a lot of the places I also have sandbags. But the spot that I was in was on grass for this particular show. Well, Dolly, that also depends on where you live. I could take this same jewelry, like this piece right here, I would probably put this piece I just made, I would probably put, $20, $22 on, because that's what it might sell for in my area. But if I took that same piece and went to a big show in Chicago, I would double that immediately, just because of the clientele that I'm looking at. Anyway, this thing at the park, there was a pretty good group of people that showed up. The customers weren't too bad, and they seemed to be, in not minding. They weren't in the mindset of swap meet or flea market type thing. A flatback cabochon. Do, 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 do. I do happen to have a bunch of stuff laying here. I don't know if there's any cabs or not. Are you, as far as the flatback cabochon, does it have a hole or no hole? I don't have any handy at the moment with no hole. Oh, wait a second. You got a hole? You do not have a hole. I do happen to have one. Nope, it's drilled across, and it's not actually cabochon. It's not flatback. I should have a video on doing a flatback cabochon on my. Okay, here's one. Oh, as far as designs go, I mean, I'm a swirl guy all the way. I like swirls and loops. It's a flatback cabochon. We got a blue tiger's eye. That bad boy does have a hole. So no, I don't have any that doesn't have a hole. Yikes. Yeah, Robin, I'd run from that one. Anyway, this one that was in the park, the lady had it laid out where our spaces were, and she had it lined up pretty good. And the problem is that she gave no indication to which way your booth should be faced. And she left way too much space between the booths. So what we got was people cutting, starting in one corner of the park and cutting through the middle and looking at that and then going on their merry way. when she could have just as easily, done it in a big giant horseshoe or a double horseshoe, a horseshoe inside a horseshoe. I just thought that the way that she actually put the show together was a detriment to all of the sellers and the buyers, myself, because you missed booths because you didn't know that they were facing that direction. Creepy dolls. Yeah, Dolly, there's some shows that people just are not buying. They're not interested at all in jewelry at all. I had one lady stop and go, "Oh, this is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. But I have so much jewelry," and walked right on out. Oh, Dolly. I have done that. If they're drilled across the top, I will sometimes ignore the hole just because going across the top is not my favorite. But usually, if there's a hole, I will use it. I will hide it. Like with this tiger's eye. I'll show you what I mean. If I can find it again. It's in this stack somewhere. Come out of there, you. Because like this one, it's got the hole right there. I haven't done a tiger's eye in gold in a while. Let's do gold. Where's my cutters? Oh yeah, I'm all the time being told that my stuff is beautiful, but they walk away without buying. But like the one that I did at a parent teacher organization at a grade school a couple of weeks ago, and then this couple walked in, and they're like, "Oh, you have crystals. I'm a big crystal person." I'm like, "Yep, I've been waiting all day for you." There's almost always one person that's a big crystal person. And they ended up buying like $45 worth of stuff. They bought a couple of things. All right, so got a stone with a hole right in the middle, in the front. And I'm betting that 2 of them won't go through because I'm not that lucky. Nope. Mayor, if you guys are still on here, I hope you're having fun on your vacation. So I just pull this in there. Oh, my bail just went to... What happened? I messed up my bail. Hang on. Oh, I only wrapped it once instead of twice. What have I done? All right, let's put you back on. But yeah, I mean, selling is it's just a gamble. And, I've got this one show. It started when the first year that I did this show, I was one of 8 vendors. That's it. It's a little town, but it's their Heritage Days, or they call it Founders Day. Old Settlers Day. That's what they call it. Old Settlers Day is the actual name of it. And I didn't used to go. It's the weekend before Labor Day, and I had one in my own town on Labor Day because we have a big Labor Day thing. So I didn't want to do 2 weekends in a row. And so I never did it because they wanted like $50 for it. And I'm like, it's such a small place. Chances of actually getting, I thought, any sales there would be a lot more difficult. So now I got this hole, I got this wire running straight through there, and I will just bring it right down and run a spiral. However the spiral comes out is fine as far as I'm concerned. My biggest thing is that I am hiding the hole. You can't even tell there's a hole there at all now. I'm going to bring it up and drop it down the backside like that. And then I bring my other wire down like that. And now I've got my double wire design that I like so much. And my stone isn't going anywhere. So I can do whatever I want at that point. And like I said, I just do intuitive stuff. Battery power. Sheesh. Not my phone, my laptop. I'll get that in. I got the wire laying right there. I have no idea what my phone is at. It was at 80 something when I started. But yeah, selling is just, it's a gamble. And that little bitty place that I figured wouldn't give me a whole lot ended up giving me, they are now the 3rd year running, they are my most successful show. I spend the most, I sell the most amount of stuff at that show. This year there was like 20 vendors, so it's grown, and they're still only charging $35. And the first year I was there, I sold $501 worth of stuff. So I was very happy. I messed up my bail. That's okay. And yeah, for this 3rd year running, I have one more show this year. And so far, that one is still my highest selling show money-wise that I've done this year. So now 3 years in a row running in this little town. And this year I had people going, "Oh, I'm so glad you're back." I had one guy show up, and my daughter told me to find you and buy an amethyst. I'm like, well, I have a selection of amethyst. So, there's people sending people there specifically to buy certain stuff. So I am going to keep going to that one. I did not do the Labor Day one in my town because last year did not do well. And I sat out there in 97-degree weather for 2 days. I made profit, but it wasn't near as much. It wasn't near enough to, my grandkids come to that fair. They got carnival rides and everything. It's a big deal in our town. There, see? You cannot tell that that I used a hole at all. Come on, baby. Light my fire. So the hole is completely gone. I've got this cute little design. So that's what I do if there's a hole through the top like that. Thank you. All right, let me see what I've missed while I was doing that. Yeah, I don't wear a lot of jewelry, so D-Day, if that question is for me, yeah, Ms. Deb, I've been yelled at that by other people in our crafting world that you do it so fast. And I'm like, I don't realize I'm doing it so fast. I just go with the flow. And like I said, this was total. I mean, I had no intention of wrapping this. I had no idea what I was going to do with it. I chose my wire, and that's what I wound up with. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. But D-Day, let's see. I so I live in a rural area. I am 45 minutes away. It takes me 45 minutes to get to a Walmart if I go north, south, or southwest. I live in this triangle of LaSalle, Illinois, Bloomington Normal, Illinois, and Peoria, Illinois. I'm kind of in the middle of that triangle. So I do travel, but usually less than 45 minutes to drive there. The town, most of my shows are within 20 minutes of driving, but I'm trying to spread out and get a little farther away from home so that the same customers aren't coming to all of the craft shows in all three of our little towns, four little towns that are close together. And I have one show that I do in LaSalle, which is where I do my shopping, which is where that's almost all that I go to. I go to Bloomington Normal if I need my car worked on because my mechanic's down there. And if I happen to be down, my cousin or aunt, my stepsister and her husband live in Bloomington. My mother-in-law lives in Bloomington. So if I happen to be down there, I'll go ahead and hit the Walmart. Really, Ms. Deb, where in the heck do you live? But so yeah, I all of my travel to my shows are less than an hour. That's going to change this year though, because my friend that sells crystals that we were talking about earlier, that I bought the crowns off of, she said she went to a show a couple of weekends ago in Tuscola. Tuscola, something like that. Oh, wow, I bought gas for $2.79 this weekend here. So yeah, you must live in California or one of the eastern states for it to be costing that much. Lawrenceville on Route 1. So that's over. Route 1 is over on the east side of the state. I'd Google map it, but I'm using both of my devices. Yeah, Northern California. Yeah, that's why when I get home I tend not to want to drive. But I'm trying to set it up because the one that I do in LaSalle, which is 45 minutes away, that one is in the first 2 weeks of February. It's an indoor show. It's a metaphysical fair. Oh, south of Champaign. Okay. I'm about it takes me, from my house, it takes me about an hour and a half to get to Champaign. But yeah, she went to the show and she said the people there came to buy. I can't remember if it was a 1 day show or a 2 day show, but it's a 2 hour drive according to Google Maps from my house. She said they came to buy. They were nice. They were polite. In what the heck was that? Oh, okay. And she said they were nice and stood in line, and she just said she made a lot of money there and that I should come next year. And I'm like, it's 2 hours away. Oh, you were down by Champaign or down by Effingham? Between Effingham and the Indiana border? But anyway, she said that since it's a 2-hour drive and set up, of course, it's so early in the morning, you'd have to leave here at 4 o'clock in the morning. She said she was going to get a hotel next year and spend the night Friday night. But apparently she made a pretty good chunk of change, so I may try that. But from February to November, I try and do one show a month. Now, this year that got all messed up, and I ended up doing 3 shows, 3 weekends in a row in June. But that's my own fault. Because 2 of those shows, well, actually, the 2 of the shows I thought were on, there was a weekend in between, and come to find out there was not. And then my daughter-in-law's mom is also, oh, okay. Yep, only. Okay. I know about where you were. Are you still there, or that's just where you grew up? So I may try that one next year. And yeah, I will be doing a whole. I do not want to leave at 4 o'clock in the morning and then spend all day in a booth and then pack everything up and then drive 2 hours home. So yeah, I will. Oh, cool, D-Day. I yell at my wife all the time. I had an old beater minivan. It it was just it was our old minivan. My wife wanted since we didn't have any kids at home, we had 2 grandkids that were close to home. Hi, Susanna. She wanted a crossover. So we bought a crossover, and I took the minivan that we'd had for several years. It was all paid off. All I did was drive it to work, park it, take off in my truck, come home, drive it home, and I would use it to go to shows. Well, then my crazy son decided to get his wife pregnant for the 3rd time in 3 years, and this little crossover doesn't have room for 3 car seats. And so we got rid of the minivan, bought a new minivan, and I got stuck with this crossover, which isn't big enough. It's big enough to squeeze all of my stuff in, but I have to Tetris. I have to Tetris all of my stuff in there now that I know how it'll fit. I know how it'll go. But yeah, I wish I had my minivan back. All right, guys. This was fun. Hadn't done one in a long time. Oh, thanks, Susanna. I appreciate it. Been on here. If I'm yapping, I could be rapping. Yeah, except I don't. You know my system. See, I pulled this out and I have to lay it on the bag because now I know where it came from. I have to get on my computer and write on there that I made something out of it. I didn't plan on doing a lot of rapping tonight, so I didn't have my stuff organized to do that. So me, and I'm getting done being rapping anyway, because we've been on here for 2 hours. It was great visiting with you guys. Had fun doing the show. I said I hadn't done one for a while, but I've been doing a lot. Hey, Matt, you guys are still here. Yeah, you didn't get to see a whole lot. Did you see what I did earlier? These little guys here. I found these on Amazon. They're called branch jewelry trays. They start out like this. And then you just squeeze them around your stone. Oh, this one? Yeah, I kind of like that one too. And then the one I did for D-Day, I don't know if you guys saw that one or not. Gotta get it out of the little bag I put it in because I mailed it to D-Day. Yeah, I like that too. The only problem I have is that these are smaller than a quarter. But when I took and tried to wrap ones that were the size of a quarter, it's not quite big enough. But for smaller, if I run across any of the little nuggets, why can I not get this open? If I run across any more little nuggets, I know what I'm going to wrap them with, because yeah, they turned out pretty good. Yeah, here's the one I made for D-Day. Well, I made it. D-Day sent me this stone for free. She was on here. So she said she wanted me to do a video of wrapping it. So she was on here, so I wrapped it right here. And she's like, I want to buy it from you. I'm like, you sent me the stone. I will give it to you. So that's going. So yeah, I didn't do a whole lot of wrapping tonight. Didn't do a whole lot of wrapping that starts with a W. Did a whole lot of wrapping that starts with an R. Next time, I will line stuff up so that I know, so that I have enough stuff to do it, so we don't spend a whole bunch of time just talking. But yeah, since Matt left us in a lurch, I thought I'd come on here and get us together for at least one day out of the week. And I'm looking forward to a show on Tuesday. You guys, Matt, Mayor, and Neve. Speaking of that, what, did Nehemiah have the week off of school? Or did you guys just yank him out of school? Yeah, Susanna, I hope you're feeling better too. Uh-oh, I lost you for a second. Are we still there? Oh, you pulled him. Nice. Really nice. Way to set an example that school is important. Well, my wife will be home soon. And when she gets home, the dog is going to go crazy. Oh, he's back to homeschool. Okay. Oh, you pulled him completely out of school. All right. Yeah, we're going to start homeschooling our oldest grandson. He starts kindergarten next year. And Dawn is going to start homeschooling him. And so we're starting to gather all of the stuff we need to do the first 3 years of school, because the other two are following right behind him. Yeah, because we got three grandkids in 3 years. Yeah, our school, our public school over here, when our kids were going to it, was one of the best schools in the state. But it has gone downhill. A friend of ours yanked their daughter out at 4th grade because one of the kids decided that they were a cat. They identify as a cat. City. Haha, Susanna, city. My town has a population of 1,200. But there is a homeschooling group that is about an hour away where we can do the testing and stuff. Must encourage the cat. Oh, yes. They must encourage the cat so much that they put a litter box in the bathroom. Good night, Matt. It's Crazy Art. We'll see you next week. And when that happened, she yanked her daughter out and started homeschooling her. She then sent her to Catholic school this year because she really wants to do sports. But yeah, we're not putting our kids through that. They're in preschool now, but the preschool is a independent preschool and has nothing to do with the school system. So as soon as they're out of preschool, they're going to go straight into kindergarten at our kitchen table until I get the garage remodeled, and then the garage is going to be their schoolroom. Oh yeah, I'm sure the good teachers, I'm sure the good teachers are just outraged at what the school systems are like now. The teachers that actually want to teach, that actually love their kids. I know several of them, but they bump up against the union, they bump up against the school board, they bump up against the administration of the school, and they don't have a whole lot of power. All right, everybody, good night. Thanks for coming. Hope you had fun. I did. And like I said, the next time, now that it's getting to be winter time and there's not, the grass to mow and the grandkids to play with outside and all of that, I can schedule more of these live shows through the winter. And of course, no shows. So I have one more show this year on the 18th or 15th, the 15th of November. And that's my last show for the year until February. So it will be reorganizing time. So good night, everybody. I'll see you at Matt's show next week if he comes on early enough that I'm not in bed. Bye-bye, everybody.